So then on Thursday, November 12th, this is not a major planetary shift, but it is something very important that we have been talking about throughout this year. So it really does deserve its own couple of minutes in order to acknowledge what is going on here. Jupiter and Pluto will be conjunct for the third and final time this year. So a little bit of a refresher. Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn are the main heavy hitting planets responsible for the Great Awakening, for all the craziness, all the chaos that has ensued in 2020. Why? Because we're in a very important time in existence, in the whole existence of the planet, let alone the collective consciousness, the group, humanity as a whole, moving into a brand new enlightened state of knowing. So if you'll remember back in April, for those of you who joined me in that global meditation, it was very powerful. And it was powerful because the light and dark forces that are at war, that's why you're seeing the craziness manifest here on the 3D physical plane, because there are very, very high intellectual beings out in the cosmos right now. There is a light side, there is a dark side. If you haven't listened to my podcast earlier on in the year about the cosmic war that we're currently in, I definitely recommend that you go check that out. Back in April, the light was essentially fighting to stay in the battle. For years, for centuries, the dark has been winning. And if you don't really understand how the dark and the light are at war with one another, I invite you to take a look at what's going on here in this 3D realm. If you don't know, we are at war here in this physical realm as a reflection of what's going on in the higher collective, in the universe, in other places that we may never consciously know about from our human existence. And we can see this because the government, the corruption, politicians, the health, the banking system, all of these paradigms that have been built to make a very small percentage of the population rich while others literally struggle every single day to survive, it has been ruled over by the dark forces. And the dark forces, again, here on this 3D physical realm, is merely a reflection of the cosmic war going on outside of the earth plane. This is an attack on consciousness. This is efforts by the dark side to keep us asleep, to keep us stuck in the matrix. And of course, the light wants us to break free from that, wants us to ascend to different levels of consciousness, wants us to really accept the fact that all the knowledge that we need to succeed and to reach a new utopia is within us. It has just been blocked out by the nefarious plans of these darker forces. So back in April, we had a global meditation where we needed a certain amount of light workers to show up on the cosmic battlefield of consciousness, where we really needed to fight to stay into this war. And it was a beautiful experience for those of you that did it with me, and we reached those, higher levels of meditation, and we really sunk into our physical bodies and allowed our consciousness to evolve, to ascend, to show us where it was that we were actually fighting here on the physical plane for the light workers to take over. We won that battle. It actually gives me goosebumps to reflect on the types of images, the types of memories, the types of energy that we all experienced in that global meditation. Now, that was the very first conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto. Pluto is about death, rebirth, transformation, power, control, the dark side of corruption. And of course, Jupiter is that great magnifier. It magnifies whatever aspect it's in with another planet. And because the dark has been winning for so long and the light just recognized that we now have the power, the people, the numbers in order to fight back, we actually launched the light workers for the first time in human existence into the lead. So that was the first conjunction. We did have a second conjunction, and that is kind of, when you look back, that was the peak of this pandemic. This was the peak of shifting out of fear and scarcity into that rage, into that rebellion. People were waking up. They were recognizing that, this whole pandemic, this coronavirus has been misleading. It has been really indoctrined into our mind to be fearful, to keep our energies down, to keep us in a fear-based way of thinking, because again, that's how the dark wins. We want to stay in a high vibrational frequency. We want to stay in the light. And so a lot of us who have awakened or who have been awakened for years, that was the pivotal point where we started to see a real good fight back. And I'm happy to report that the light is still very much in the game. We are winning like we've never won before. And now this third and final conjunction is really going to show us what needs to be let go of in the old paradigm of the global consciousness, which is old government, old health systems, old elite plans, old new world order agendas. All of that has now been exposed. All of the corruption is now coming to light. And this is why I say to you, if this is new information, you got to shut off your TV. You got to stop relying on social media to inform you, because I'm telling you, all of those media outlets are owned by the same small group of people that the dark forces have been ruling over and have been encouraging to keep reign, to keep power, to keep control over our 3D consciousness. That's why we are ascending. That's why we are moving into the 5D. And 5D is just a brand new enlightenment stage. It's a brand new stage of consciousness where we can see through the bullshit, where we can see the constructs, the systems that have been built to work against us. Now we have the power. Now we have the numbers to set our people free. This is about humanity no longer being stuck under systems and foundations that have been working against us. This is a time of unity. This is a time to come together. This is the time to say goodbye to the old systems, the old paradigms, the old people in power, and finally take our knowledge back, take our power back, take the control of our energy back. And we do that by keeping our vibe high, keeping our bodies clean, keeping our minds open, and thinking critically without allowing the public forum of media to corrupt our minds. So Jupiter conjuncting Pluto, this is again the third and final event. This is where huge revolutions take place, where changes take place. This is where we see the economic reset. This is where we see new paradigms form, new ideas merge, new power and leadership take over in order to lead us into the new age of Aquarius. Why is this so exciting? Because we have been in the age of Pisces, the unconscious collective, for far too long. This is a time when we are moving into a collective understanding that we are all connected, we are all one, we all deserve to be happy, to be healthy, to be in love, to have what it is that we need, and to start building a world that supports that. So this is a very important time, giving us one final hurrah in November with these planetary energies to set us up for December. And I hate to get ahead of myself here, but December is going to be amazing. We have a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction on the solstice after all of these beautiful eclipse events, which, as you know, is a whirlwind of energy anyways. And these events in December are going to catapult us into a brand new age, into a utopia of collective consciousness where we can innovate, where we can pioneer for a better world. So this is super exciting. And on November 12th, I ask you to keep your vibe, to keep your mind, to keep all energies as high as possible so that we can magnify the kind of changes that we want to see instead of letting the darker energies win.